Are the recent pro-Palestinian campus protests genuine? Shades of 2020? Hello, this is Chart GPT today. You know, we stay current on current events here. We have pro-Palestinian encampments spread across the country in protest. There's a lot of arrests. So far, I don't think they've gotten violent or anything like that so far. A lot of pushing and shoving other than that. But one has to wonder, it is political season, and we remember the 2020, and we had those riots of the BLM. We wonder if this is the beginning of something that's going to rock the nation as we go into the political season throughout the summer here. So it'll be interesting to see what goes on. A lot of it will depend on the events on the ground in Israel, of course. I don't want to get into specifics of it, but we just want to kind of look at this protest, whether it's genuine or not. First of all, let's take a listen to this group of youngsters that are trying to tell us what is going on in terms of what they're fighting for.
I think the goal is just showing our support for Palestine and demanding that NYU stops. I honestly don't know all of what NYU is doing.
Is there something that NYU is doing?
I really don't know. I'm pretty sure they're... Do you know what NYU is doing?
About what?
About Israel. Why are we protesting here?
Palestine will be free! I wish I was more educated.
I'm not either.
Oh.
And to be fair to those youngsters there, they probably were being asked specifically about NYU, not necessarily why they were protesting. So it's a little bit disingenuous to say they don't have any idea, but they don't have any specific idea what NYU has done. So yeah, it is a bit dubious to be not knowing what you're protesting for. But some of this, I think young kids just want to protest. I mean, that's part of what it is. So here's a map here. I think it's from the New York Times, about the campus protests so far, and all those. There's a protest where arrests have taken place and others have not. And so there's a lot of protests going around. Kind of started off in Colombia. Here's kind of a very dubious character. And this is the problem with these kind of protests. They're very radical people that launch on or attach to it and try to jump onto the train, so to speak. Take a listen to this. It's kind of shocking. I'm not going to play it all because it probably would get censored.
A lot of people agree that Hitler needed to die in order for world order to move forward and in order to establish some inkling of world peace. And so if we can agree as a society, as a collective, that some persons need to die if they have an ideology that results in the death of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions, if there are people like that who exist, shouldn't they die? Why would we want people who are supporters of genocide to live? I'm confused. Zionists, along with all white supremacists, need to not exist.
What's interesting about that person is that was actually probably in a conversation with the university there. He's going to Columbia. If you actually look at the whole video, it's about almost an hour long. You can check out the post links in the description box if you really want to see it. But he's on vacation in Greece, and then he's saying that he doesn't care if he gets kicked out of Columbia because he can go off and gallivant around South America. I guess he wants to go down there and do some tough stuff. Where do you get the money for that? I mean, so I don't know who he is and what he's doing, but who goes to Greece for their college holiday? Who goes to Columbia? So there's money behind him. I don't know whose kid that is. It'd be quite interesting to find out, but it's neither here nor there. Question is here, organically or not, look at all these nice pictures. This is coming from the New York Post. They're saying, look at all these tents. They're all the same. Then we got the pads out in front. It's all kind of well organized there. And here's a picture of the food they bring in, these $15 gourmet sandwiches for the young kids in nice plastic boxes, Dunkin' Donuts coffee. So somebody's paying for that, right? So look at the watch on that gal's hand doing it. So there's somebody paying for this kind of stuff. Of course, the New York Post is suggesting that they're paid protesters. So and they've got a whole expose on it. Again, you can check out the Post link in the description box to see the link on that. But it's quite interesting. And of course, they're accusing Soros of funding, and he's put a lot of money into these things, as well as these prosecutors. Of 70 total Soros-linked prosecutors, and of course they're after Trump and all kinds of things on the January 6 people, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, it's a very dubious situation out there in this political year, and it's probably going to get more interesting as we go forward. Here's kind of an interesting site. Again, there's a link for this, and you can see that this is tracking the crowds and the protests that are going on since October 7th. So somebody put some money into this. So they're actually tracking all these incidences, and you can see here the number of events, total participants, localities, and it is international. I think I see there's protests now in London and in Holland, et cetera, et cetera. So this is not just the U.S. So it is going forward. But looking at the other side, so we think, well, maybe this is all not so organic. And my guess is it's probably a little bit of both. We did ask the AI, what are these nationwide protests? Do they tend to be organic or not? And it's probably a little bit of both. Where they say it only takes 3% to move the crowd. So I think the young girls before, they were probably being led by people and probably paid. So probably 3% of them are paid. The rest of them is somewhat organic, I suppose. But take a look at the number of lobbyists that we have, the amount of money being paid, and it's just steadily rising since the year 2000. We were spending about a little over $1 billion, and now it's close to $12 billion, 12-fold. So that's amazing. And the number of lobbyists is about the same, but the amount of money they're spending is 12-fold since 2000. This is huge. And here's of course, on the other side of this, you talk about Soros. Well, AIPAC, which is a famous 501c for Israel, their revenues are 73 million. So they got that war chest to go through. If you look at the top spenders from Open Secrets, U.S. Chamber of Commerce is only 69. So I think there's a bit of mix and match here about who are the lobbyists. Most lobbyists are for business. You can see Amazon, Meta on there. Google's one of the higher ones as well. U.S. Chamber of Commerce, et cetera, et cetera. But AIPAC's up there, one of the highest. And so if you're a politician, you got to pay attention to the money. And, and politics is fickle. Usually AIPAC was supporting a lot of left-wing causes. So, politics can go two ways. And now all of a sudden AIPAC is now going against progressive because they've caught on to this idea of pro-Palestinian. Of course, AIPAC is not going to like that. So now they're actually trying to unseat the ones that before they were trying to seat. So it's a dubious situation. But I think the point to all this is a bit of a shade of 2020 when the political season for the presidency gets really hot. We had the BLM riots here. Now we're having these pro-Palestinians, and people are putting money into both sides of this campaign, and we're being manipulated by all this money. And you think you're not, you are. These young kids are being manipulated, but maybe we are too. So when you go in to make your decisions on these issues, just realize that a lot of the stuff you're hearing is being shaped and managed by a lobbyist group to try to change your opinion one way or another. In any case, take our online poll. How organic are these recent college protests, pro-Palestinian protests? How organic are they, or are they being all manipulated? Again, follow that post link in the description box, and don't forget to subscribe.